The Guardian, which is a British paper, much like the BBC, is an apologist for Muslim hatred. London has seen the result of appeasement, but London is a place where left-wingers, leftists, appease fascism. They did so in 1938 and 39 and caused Hitler to start World War II because he believed that the British wouldn't do anything to stop him. When you appease a tyrant, you just get more tyranny. The Guardian and the BBC have for the last 30, 40 years castigated, badmouthed, put into negative light any decision that an Israeli prime minister would do for the sake of protection of his country. This is because the Guardian, as Obama, as Democrats, most Democrats, not all Democrats, wrongly and falsely believe the narrative that land for peace is a viable option. Land for peace is not a viable option when we're talking about someone who is dedicated to kill you. You say, well, but that's Islamophobia. It's not Islamophobia. How many times do you have to see the same thing to realize that you're in a war? The world is at war. Not the world is at war with Islam. Islam is at war with the world because that's what Islam is about. Jihad is a war. And those who take jihad seriously use it as an excuse to attack. The Guardian says that Israel said that the attackers who killed 2 Israeli policemen on the Temple Mount got their weapons on the mount. They didn't say that. They don't have to say that. They have the visual proof. They have a camera that shows where the guns came from, because there was no metal detector for Muslims going onto the mount. The Muslims could bring in a cache of weapons. And these weapons were used to murder Israelis. Israel has a responsibility to protect its citizenry, as well as other Arabs or Muslims who are on the mount. The fact is that Israel is at war, that the so-called Palestinian Authority, which is supposed to have made peace, has not really made peace. They teach their children to kill Israelis. And it's not just to get back their territory from pre-67. That's a lot of bull muffins. They've been doing this since 1948 because it's against the Muslim credo that Jews will be anything but second-class citizens under Muslims. And if not, they will be killed. That is the religion of Islam. That is not an aberration. That's what they believe. They believe that Islam has to take over the world. Wherever Islam has taken over, they have to get that land back, since this land was controlled by Muslims under the Turks. Therefore, that land is Islam land and has to go back. And of course, It's Jewish land. God gave it to the Jewish people, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And after 1900 years, we're back. We're back to that land. And it's a clear fulfillment of those prophecies that are found in the Bible. And Israel, if they were smart, would just say, you know what, this is the Temple Mount. You don't belong here. Get out of my mount, my Temple Mount. And you have 24 hours to vacate. Otherwise, we're moving everyone out of there forcibly. If you don't want to play by the rules, simple rules of human dignity, human protection, if you don't want to allow metal detectors and cameras to observe what's going on, to protect all the citizens that live there, then that means you want to kill other people. It's got nothing to do with religion. When you go to an airport, you have to go through a metal detector. And they pat you down if you look a little funny, like myself. I've been patted down many times because I've got a beard, and I might be a radical Muslim or a radical Jew who wants to kill other people. I don't mind them patting me down. I know I'm not going to kill anybody. The ones who object are the ones who want to kill people. Take that as a rule. And the guardian, instead of guarding people, is the instrument of destruction, of killing people. But that is the nature of leftism. Leftism will allow for those elements to destroy themselves, to destroy them. The nature of the so-called democratic society that allows for certain things and allows for the excesses of certain groups denies those who want to survive, who have a right to survive, denies them those rights. Just a paradox, but that's the truth. The Guardian, the BBC, and many other British institutions are very anti-Israel. There's a reason for that. Israel bucked them and threw them off, and they were certain that they could go ahead and make the Jews into a trivial group that would be under Muslim rule and would be attacked by Muslims on a constant basis. And the Jews said, no, we're not going to allow ourselves to be attacked and killed like they did in Europe, which you allowed that to happen. We're going to have our own country so that we can live in peace by ourselves. And more or less, that's what it is. Israel is the only place in Europe, only place where Jews can feel secure. That's why so many Jews are leaving France and other places, because they don't feel secure in those places. What about the United States? As long as there is a government that understands that radical Islam is a real threat, the Jewish community will be safe. But God forbid there should be another government that does not believe that radical Islam is a threat, then radical Islam will rear its ugly head, and then they will be excused. But these are only lone wolves. These are only this because of the poverty, because of this, because of that. Always blaming the victim. This is leftism. This is the Guardian. They should change their name to Goebbels' heirs.